stream link is captured up there. And we will go ahead and get started. Okay, so I saw the notification coming through, so I'm going to assume that we are good to go. Give it just a second longer here. I'm going to mute the volume here. That's one of the issues that always happens when I do a live stream, is the volume starts playing in the background. And then I can't talk because it's like the reverb, the echo. At any rate, good morning and welcome. My name is Brenda Meller. I am your host for our VIP Friday office hours. And today is the second Friday of the month. So today our focus is on coaches and consultants. So if you're on the call, it's likely because you are self-employed as a coach, as a consultant, or maybe you're thinking about that side hustle and that's why you want to be on the call with us today. Maybe you serve or support coaches and consultants. At any rate, the topics will be focused on those of us who are coaches and consultants for today. And as we are getting started here, I'm going to remind everybody that this will be live streamed on YouTube. And the playback will be available if you want to go on the YouTube channel. I'm going to have Julia, actually, she already got into chat. She has the link for today's live stream on there. And then we have the playback in a playlist, which you can check out a little bit later. On that note, we also have a private unlisted LinkedIn group. I was waiting for the slide to come up so I could just grab the link from there. And I want to let everyone know, if you're joining us right now inside Zoom, you can go inside the chat and click on the link for this private unlisted group and join the group. What we try to do inside the group is, once the call gets started, we'll put the Zoom link inside here. So if for any reason you can't find it in your email, this is like the meeting point where you can find those resources. And then after the call starts, if I remember or if Julia remembers, we'll also drop the YouTube link in here as well. So that way, if you want to come back later, don't want to dig around YouTube, try to figure out my channel, you can just go inside the group here and grab that link. I also want to encourage you, this is resources for people who are coaches, consultants, speakers, and authors. So if you have upcoming events that will be relevant to the group members, if you have articles, resources, whatever, feel free to drop them inside the group. The first time you come to the group, it will say request to join the group, and will have to admit you in there. And I always try to do a quick pre-screen of individuals to make sure that they've been on the call with us. I see, for example, I know Leah, and I see Dell. I just looked inside the Zoom to make sure she's on the call with us, because I want to make sure that the people who are coming inside the group are coming in for the right reasons, for networking, to get access to the resources, etc. Jim, you must be on the call too, because you just popped up inside here. So you can see here, as the group admin, I have to approve you to come inside the group. And I do try to screen and I do try to monitor the posts that are inside the group. I try to go in at least once a week, look for new posts, interact, and maybe share some new information in here. And if you ever have any questions, do let me know. Please feel free to reach out to me. But this is a good meeting point for all of us in between our calls, because we only meet once a month on the second Friday. So feel free to jump inside the group here if you do have any questions. And my name is Brenda Meller. I'm your host. My business is Meller Marketing, and I help business professionals, salespeople, and job seekers to get a bigger slice of LinkedIn pie. I just said that and I'm like, that's not my spiel. Let me try that again. My name is Brenda Meller. My business is Meller Marketing. I help business people, solopreneurs, and job seekers get a bigger slice of the LinkedIn pie. So I tweaked it just a little bit. Like, the more you rehearse it, you're like, wait, that word wasn't the right word. Technically, I do help salespeople, but usually when I say, when I help employees, that kind of covers that. But I'm doing a little bit of a shift, and I have different seasons of my business. I'm moving into the season right now where I'm supporting job seekers, and I'm getting ready to ramp up for my next launch of my program, Boot Camp with Brenda. But this time it's going to be supporting people who are working but looking. So a little bit of a shift in there. At any rate, I'll be facilitating the call. And what I'd like to do to start us off is I'll give everyone in the group an opportunity to introduce themselves. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, go down to your Zoom menu bar in the bottom. It will either be under reactions or it might be under a different area. Zoom is moving this. What I'm looking for is the raise hand. And in my view, it's no longer under reactions. Is anybody seeing where it's at now? I was just on another call. Where's it at?
Under reaction with the smile faces.
I'm not seeing it under my reactions. Diane, you and I were just on the same call. Where did you find your raise hand? today?
under reactions today.
Mine is not.
It's just
Oh,
Brenda.
now it's there. Okay, sorry.
Oh.
It was at the bottom.
it's
Sorry.
it's after all of the little, the thumbs and all
Yeah.
the rest of it. Yeah.
That was an ID10T error. If you've never heard of that, write down ID10T and then you'll see what I'm talking about. So raise your hand if you'd like to introduce yourself. We'll do like 30-second introductions here, and make sure that you also put your information in the chat. We're going to go Diane first, and on deck will be Mindy.
I'm here because I'm a fan of Brenda's. That's the main reason I'm here. So great to see you, Brenda. I teach networking skills. If you ever want to figure out where you should go, how to behave when you're there, that's what I do. And happy to see everybody from Boston. A little chilly today.
All right, awesome. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate people in. So Mindy, you can see that you're up next, and then I'm going to move Jim behind you. So just to keep this kind of flowing in here. So go ahead, Mindy.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Brenda. Happy to be here. I am a career coach, and I love to help professionals in any part of their career journey. So whether that is coaching you within your company to help you navigate the company politics better, or helping you with communication skills, or helping you leave that company to get to your next great job, that's what I love to do. And I'm so happy to be here. And thanks, Brenda, for the opportunity.
All right, Jim. And then on deck will be Selena.
Hi, hi everybody. I'm Jim Peacock with Peak Careers Consulting. Most of my business is actually training career coaches, and I also do a lot of trainings, a number of trainings on LinkedIn as well. So I'm always looking for new stuff. I'm calling in from freezing cold Maine. It was 4 degrees this morning, and last I heard from my wife, it's warmed up to 8.
Oh, a brisk 8 degrees. Well, thank you so much, Jim, for joining us. Appreciate it. All right, next up will be Selena, followed by on deck will be Becky.
Good morning. I'm Selena Stone. I used to live in the Midwest, and so I now reside in Jacksonville, Florida. I traded my snow boots for flip-flops. I left corporate 6 years ago. I went from a corporate burnout to now a brand CEO. I help teach my clients how to actually implement their marketing using all the tools, and actually how do you manage it all. So I do monthly marketing trainings to help business owners like you, coaches and consultants, figure out how to do their own marketing. I'll put my information in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you. And up next will be Becky. On deck will be Kareem.
Good morning. I'm Becky Amble, and I work with businesses that are looking to grow and increase their revenues. I focus on strategic marketing versus the tactical side of things. I've got a free group if anybody's interested on Facebook, where once a week I come out and I share some ideas on that. So it's sort of like the DIY approach. And then my bigger clients are in that 10 to 25 million on up size. My expertise is high tech, med tech, and industrial companies primarily. The other thing is I'm doing a ton of work on artificial intelligence. If anybody needs anything, I did a video. It could be better, but if you want it, I walk through and I show some demos and stuff like that. If that's something where you've been wondering to, are there a few little tidbits that you're missing, let me know and I can get you the link for that. I think that's it. And I'm in Minnesota, where it's actually warmer than Maine. So Brenda and I, we're happy.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It's supposed to go up to 60 here in Michigan today, which I don't even get that because it's winter. But at any rate, Kareem, you're up next. And then again, if anyone else wants to introduce themselves, please use raise hand. Go ahead, Kareem.
Hey everyone, I'm Kareem. I'm a marketing guide, story brand marketing guide, and I admire the work coaches and advisors do in helping people actually overcome an obstacle in their lives. So I'm focusing on helping coaches communicate that value to people and invite them into a story where they lead their clients to success and transformation. So my focus is helping coaches, consultants, and advisors build their brand messaging, brand identity, and the strategy they need to actually position themselves as the guide and as the leader leading their clients to success and transformation.
Wonderful. What a great introduction. Thank you so much for joining. I'm putting us in gallery view right now because I want to see if anyone else either can't figure out how to do the raise hand. If so, just like wave your hands. Like Angie wants to introduce herself. So we'll go with Angie next. Let me just do a spotlight for you. Hey, Angie, go ahead.
I am so sorry that I cannot find the raise hand icon this morning, but good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here. I'm Angela Cox. I go by Angie. I'm a healthcare consultant looking to elevate the patient and employee experience through technology. And I do assessment, education, and consultation with business consultants. So thank you for having me this morning.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going back into gallery view again to see, is there anyone else who has not introduced themselves who would like to introduce yourself to the group? And I want to remind you, we're doing this call for coaches and consultants. So individuals who are self-employed as a coach and consultant who are looking to, kind of practice your elevator pitch, so to speak, to promote your business to others. You never know who's on the call who might be interested in doing business with you or who could be a potential referral partner for you in the future. And I saw Susan, I saw that you waved your hand. I want to make sure that you know this is a call for coaches and consultants, not a job seeker focus today. Did you still want to introduce yourself? Okay, she's not waving her hand. All right, just want to make sure we're only doing the job seeker calls on the first Friday of the month. So today's call is really focused on individuals who are coaches and consultants. So seeing no other people raising their hand, I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions, comments, success stories, anything you'd like to share with the group. Please use the raise hand function if you could for that. And if you want to be video on or video off, completely fine. I saw Annette say, hey, I'm video off because I'm eating. That's like me, Annette. The call that we come on right before this for Innovation Women, I am always just returning from walking the dog and either finishing getting ready. I had to quickly jump back camera because Bobby's like, let's do it. I'm like, I missed that. Or I'm eating my breakfast. So like half of the call I'm video off. By the time we get to this call, I'm like ready to go. But if you want to be video on or video off, completely fine. If anyone does have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. We'll address questions. If you have any success stories, anything you'd like to share, feel free to share that. While I'm waiting for those to come in, I'm not seeing any hands that are coming in right now. I just want to share something that happened this morning as we were getting on the call here today. Julie and I always come on about 5, 10, 15 minutes early just to kind of open up the Zoom room, get things running. And by the way, if you've been on my calls before, you know that I do a typical kind of run a show at the beginning. I have that slide deck that's playing in the background. And let me just share that with you in case you missed it, if you weren't on the session to begin with. I will have this slide deck running in the background. And this is something that we created inside of, what is it called? Google Sheets? No. What's the Google version of PowerPoint?
Google Slides.
Thank you. Google Slides. So we created inside Google Slides. I click on it as a loop and then it just kind of plays in the background. So it's almost like when you walk in the room and you come into the Zoom room, you're like, am I in the right place? You can read the slide deck in front of you and it kind of shows what's happening. And it's almost like when you come into a movie theater and they're playing the ads as you're getting your seat, like before the preview stuff, like they're playing the ads that are running in the background. And I'm like, why not? I got a captive audience. They're coming in the background here. The other thing I do is I go on to YouTube and I search for instrumental music royalty free. And I do instrumental because I don't want to have somebody singing over top of, as we're getting introduction comments going in. And I do instrumental music royalty free. I do royalty free because then if for any reason a little snippet of the beginning comes up in the YouTube when I start to live stream, I don't get hit with a copyright infringement for the music. So that's my little pro tip on there. And I do like to create a little bit of ambiance. I usually will do instrumental music royalty free, and then I look for upbeat or sometimes holiday or something. And then that helps to kind of set the tone and the mood as people are coming in. Now, Julia and I, we both jumped on, I think at about 10:02. And at about 5:02, and it was still only the two of us. And I started to get not like panicked, but I started to be like, something's not right. So I went on to the ad event and I want to hear from all of you. Did you have this on your calendar or was it the email from me that prompted you to join? Go into chat and let me know. Was it on your calendar or did you get the email from me and that's what prompted you to join? I'm just kind of curious. Okay, so some folks are saying calendar, calendar. Okay, good. Because I was going into my ad event and I use ad event for you. It allows you to register and then it gives you the ability to add it to your calendar. But when I logged into my ad event, I couldn't find it. And we're now in the process of launching our 2024 events. And I'm thinking, did I delete it out by mistake? And then if so, did that delete it out from all of you? And for me, I've been doing marketing my entire career. I graduated from college in 1996. I'm not embarrassed to admit it. I'm proud of that. And I started off in a career at an ad agency, and then I went into retail marketing and corporate marketing and marketing services and higher ed marketing and a bunch of other things along the way. And now I'm here self-employed. And I've been doing events since, probably my second job out of college in retail marketing. And I learned that you can almost assess the effectiveness of an event in terms of turnout, how many people are going to come, based on how early people start attending. And I want to share a story with you. When I worked in retail marketing, I worked for a retail superstore. It was called Media Play, Mediaplay. It's kind of like a Best Buy. If you all remember that, if you were in the Midwest anywhere, you probably were familiar with Media Play stores. I was the area marketing coordinator, and I would set up in-store events. And we would have celebrity in stores that, celebrities would come out to our stores. And sometimes it was like a music artist and they would do like a signing. So do you guys remember 98 Degrees, Nick Lachey? I met him. I have a picture with him. Jessica Simpson, when she first made it big, I met her. She came out and did an in-store appearance. And these were all coordinated by our home office Musicland corporate, and they would secure these in-store signings. And I think the 98 Degrees one was the biggest. We had people in Grand Rapids wrapped around the neighborhood trying to line up and get in there. But I would remember when we would hold these events, you could tell how successful the events would be in terms of attendance by how early people started signing up. So
Hey,
if we had
Brenda?
like a local, what's that?
Brenda, we're not seeing you. We're seeing Angie, and she's gone off camera because you
Thank
haven't.
you for saying that. Let me just put this. I'm going to spotlight on here.
There you
And
go.
I think because I had the spotlight on from Angie from before. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I remember for like the local author signings, people would show up like at the time of the event, and we're like, okay, we're going to get like 5 or 10 people. For the 98 Degrees, they started lining up the night before, and they had like tents in the parking lot, and people were like, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be huge. So for Julie and I were in like 10 minutes before or 5 minutes before, nobody was on. I'm like, okay, I got to do a reminder email because I'm a little worried that we're not going to get a lot of turnout. And I think the reminder email prompted a few of you to come out because now we've got a fairly large group on here. All right, so that's a little bit my story to warm you up here. I see, Annette, you have your hand raised, so I'll see if you'd like to share something with the group.
Well, I would. So good morning, all. I'm in balmy Metro New York City. It's 40 degrees here. So I just wanted to say that I'm pretty excited. I am taking the List Builders Society program that I actually learned about from Brenda, and I am loving it. I'm learning so much there. And one of the things I think you had mentioned something like this to me also, Brenda, is that when you're relaunching, because I shifted my company, that you send out your first kind of re-engagement email to your new people and the people that are from like your old list, that you send it out, great email, and you prompt people a couple of times to just say, you know what, if this is not for you, please unsubscribe. And so I sent that out yesterday, and I had a 46% open rate, and I only had 11 people subscribe. The list is not that big. It was only around close to 600 people, but I only had 11 people so far unsubscribe with 46 point something percent open rate. So I'm kind of feeling like, I'm glad that I didn't, because I mentioned to Brenda that maybe I'll just leave those old people behind. She's like, no, don't do that. And then, of course, I'm learning about it in this Amy Porterfield program. So anyway, I'm excited about that and wanted to share it.
Do you mind if I ask some questions, because it might help others in the group here as well? And I know a
course
little
not.
bit of the backstory of this. So Annette, you're in the process of kind of shifting gears with your business. Is that right?
Yes.
Kind of shifting.
Yes.
And what were you doing before, and what are you doing now and moving forward?
So I was really in the career space, mostly resume writing, then resume LinkedIn profile writing, and then moving into more, branding, personal branding, working with consultants and executives primarily. And over the last 6 months, I have shifted my business to being more content marketing and having my target audience be people like me. And I will just say I got that idea, which is something I like way better doing, from my friends and colleagues always contacting me and say, Annette, how do I do this? I got to do video. How do I do that? And so that's what sort of prompted the change.
Okay, so you had this email list that you've been building up before,
Mhm.
and do you know approximately how many people were on your email list from the career focus part?
Well, I would say it was about maybe 600 people, but I had culled that list dramatically, so it was fairly small.
Okay, good. And I want to remind everyone on the call, if you're a coach or if you're a consultant, if you're self-employed, you definitely should have some type of an email opt-in list. If you don't have one yet, there's a good chance people have asked you, do you have an email newsletter or how do I get on your list? If they haven't asked you yet, let's think about getting one started. And Annette, you're going through the process right now with Amy's List Building Society, which I think is an amazing program. And part of the premise is we're not just creating an email list that people are subscribing into, you're creating tools and resources for them to opt in and receive. And then, by the way, they get on your email list as a result of that. So
Mhm.
one of the things that we had talked about this, and I said, instead of like starting from scratch, send a note out to the 600 people that are on your job seeker female email list and let them know, hey, starting today, we're going to be talking about, some different content management, content creation. And if you're not interested, click here to opt out. Otherwise, look forward to great information coming from me in the future. And, I even do this to this day. Every time I send an email, and pay attention to my emails when I send them out. At the bottom of the email, you'll see, hey, if you're not interested in this topic, you can unsubscribe from this specific topic. At the very bottom of the email, you can unsubscribe from the list entirely. But I will say, for example, hey, if you don't want to receive any more emails about my podcast, click here to unsubscribe from my podcast email, but you'll stay on my full list. So, and Annette, it's very exciting to see that you're in the process right now of building this up. Do you have a lead magnet yet? Anything you want to share with us?
Well, I do have something, but then I'm just listening to a podcast and I need to tweak it. But what I have right now that I created was 25 content ideas to help people get started. Because as we know, anyway, both of us and others here, I'm sure have heard, people don't post on LinkedIn because they don't know what to say. And so I decided to create that as a lead magnet. And it's not doing all that well. So I've just listened to another podcast by Amy, and I need to be tweaking it. Can I just mention one more thing that I put in the chat?
I'm moving off of you yet, but I just want to do this real quick.
Okay.
Who wants to get 25 content ideas from Annette? Like, raise your hand right now. Like, I'm on those. So if you want to use this as your guinea pig test group, Annette, I'd be interested in that. Even if you don't think it's in the best format possible yet, let us help you. And I'd kind of be interested. So I'm not moving off of you yet. I just wanted to show the gallery view because I think I'm not alone in that. Like, I think it'd be great content to get access to that list for what it's worth.
Cool. Well,
All right.
cool. So, do you want me to put the link to go and get it, or?
Yes, please.
Okay. So the one last thing I wanted to mention is I put in the because you were talking about music, and with YouTube it can be a ding even if the site says it's royalty free. I use a site called Deposit Photos. I've used them for a long time. They have I put the link in the chat. They have a inexpensive royalty free photos, but also inexpensive royalty free music. And you can pay month by month. I subscribe for a month, $12. You can download like as much as you want during that month and then cancel. And that's how I got music for my new LinkedIn Live show and new podcast. And I have uploaded stuff on YouTube and no problem.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And by the way, if anyone else has suggestions on purchasing, licensing music, anything like that, I purchased a corporate music library, and I think there's about a dozen songs that are in there. And I purchased it probably 5-6 years ago, and I'm starting to kind of get bored with the library, and I want to go purchase another one. I can't remember where I purchased it from, but if you have any favorite music sites, I'm willing to purchase, and I want to give people money when they're creating their music and their work. Stuff like this, when I do these calls, I'm like, I don't want to pay for music just for the beginning of the call. But if I'm using it in my course content, my videos, things like that, I definitely want to pay for that. If you have any suggestions, drop those into chat. Okay, I saw that we had 2 hands that were raised. I see Diane's has raised, and there was someone else who put their hand down, but Diane, we'll go to you next. Question, or would you like to add to the conversation?
I did have a thought and then I lost it. The one thing I will say with oh, I know what I was going to say, is people who have websites, I have something called domain insurance. So I have dianedarling.com for my website. I have dianedarling.org, which is where I send out all my email newsletters. So on the off chance that someone complains and it's a spam, I have to deal with something like that. It's the .org that gets that, not the .com. So you may want to get just a second domain where you send emails from. So far, nothing's ever happened, but it's just been a good backup.
All right, repeat that again because I'm like, I wasn't quite sure what you were explaining with that. Explain that technique again.
So if the other thing I've found is that I've got thousands and thousands of emails that come. So Brenda, if something comes in from you, I want to get your emails. But if I have an email from you that, let's say it's mellermarketing.net, and that's your marketing emails, that will go into my marketing folder, which is I can read whenever, versus, hey, Brenda, I'm going to be in Detroit. Oh, let's get together with Ann. That's kind of a private conversation.
Yeah.
So I try and have the marketing emails. So when people are looking for marketing from me, they're looking for dianedarling.org. And that's all my marketing emails.
Okay, so you have a work email and you have a personal email.
No, I have a work email and I have a marketing email.
Okay. Okay.
And the reason is just to
that's
help.
referring to your inbox, not the way that you're sending out emails. Is that correct?
Yeah, I send out from dianedarling.org when I send out on my blast.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, good. And then while we're on the subject of email blasts or email newsletters or anything like that, I have a show where I talk about this, and I've got a blog where I talk about this too. But just making sure that everyone's aware of permission when you're adding people to your email list. I think that's a really important thing. A lot of people kind of, I don't know why they think this, but they're like, oh, well, if you connected with me on LinkedIn, you gave me permission to use your email. No, I really didn't. And
No.
if you even look in the LinkedIn settings, there's now a way that you can enable sharing the download of your email. So LinkedIn is wised up to this too. They know that people were exporting your connections list and trying to get them. But no, we really didn't. We gave you permission to connect with us and message us on LinkedIn on a one-to-one basis. We did not give you permission to add us to your email list. And I've been trying some different techniques on this where when I'm getting spam emails from people, I don't know about you, but I if I have time, I'll look them up on LinkedIn. And if I see that they're a new connection, I used to reply back and say, hey, Eileen, for some reason I was just added to your email list, but I don't remember subscribing. Can you refresh my memory? Like I would say that, and then Eileen would be like, well, we connected on LinkedIn and I thought it was okay. Now what I do is I look them up on LinkedIn, and if I see that we're connected, I'll reply back to them and I'll say, hey, Eileen, looks like you just added me to your email list about sales tips. I'm going to go ahead and add you to my email list where you'll start getting LinkedIn tips. Have a great day. And I mean, you know what I'm doing there? I'm doing what they just did to me. And they're probably going, hey, I want to be added to her email list. Yeah, but I didn't want to be added to yours either. So if you're not going to ask me, I'm not going to ask you. I don't know if that helps. I saw that you raised your hand. Did you want to add something to the conversation?
Yeah, thank you so much. So actually, it's very helpful what you guys were talking about the unsubscribe list, because I also am pivoting, and I was wondering, I have a list that I built and I want to keep that relationship. What do I do? Do I like just ghost them? I'm not going to ghost them, of course, but I'm like, what do I do? They didn't sign up for what I'm doing now. So it's very actually helpful to say, okay, guys, I am now shifting and offering these services instead. If you're interested, I would love to have you on my list. If not, I respect your time and I value you. So here's an option to unsubscribe. This is brilliant. And to me, the unsubscribe button can be actually very helpful because it keeps your list focused, and it keeps you, it saves you time and your followers time too, if you're not connected on the same topic. I know it can be very like hard to part ways with people you built relationships with, but it's the best for both of you. So it's very helpful. Thank you guys for sharing that. I also wanted to add.
Could I interrupt?
Yeah, sure.
So now in Net, we've got an in-house expert on email list transition. Like, Annette, see, like we talked about this, it's helping other people that are inside. I mean, I'm kidding about this, but
No,
now you can see, had you just abandoned your list, you might not have had a running start going in, and Kareem is now being inspired by you as well. So Annette, did you want to comment on anything with that?
Well, I just said, I think you just crack me up all the time. I think you're so funny. But no, but again, a lot of times I think when we hear these things over and over, and I know I had talked to Brenda. I don't know if it was during a session where I was working with her, just talking to her on the side. About the idea of just letting that email list go because it's primarily job seekers wanting, resume and LinkedIn information. And she's like, no, you really shouldn't do that. And then, of course, I enroll in this program and they're selling it, they're saying it again. And so I think sometimes it takes all of us a couple of times to hear these things to say, maybe that's a good idea. So maybe this is, you're hearing it from two people and maybe that's all it will take. But I'm certainly glad I didn't get rid of them. And I'm not a Kajabi expert like you are, Brenda. So I didn't put the unsubscribe button in the body of the email, but I mentioned it a couple of times in the email. Yeah. If this doesn't work for you, please, I hope you stay, but unsubscribe to get that clean email list of people who do want to, get your stuff. And also, why don't you talk about the idea of culling the list since you know all this stuff after the 60 days?
Yeah. So, well, first I want to go back to Kareem. Did you? Oh,
okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to comment. You said, or to what did you ask me? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. And did you want to reflect upon anything that Annette just shared with us, or I feel like I cut you off when I brought Annette up, so I want to allow you the chance to finish.
Yeah, thank you. Now, when it comes to the email advice, yes, it's very helpful. Actually, will help me go and instead of like just thinking I can't help those people anymore, I will offer them still help because sometimes they too may be shifting in their needs in life, and maybe they will also benefit from my new direction. So that's a very cool advice. So thank you so much. I also wanted to add something else. It might be helpful for you, for coaches and consultants, because I've been looking at a lot of coaches and consultants' websites, just trying to get ideas on how they position themselves in the market and trying to find ways to genuinely to help them clarify that message. And one thing I noticed that most coaches do is that they position themselves as the hero of that story, right? So when I go to the website and I see the header and the next section are all about themselves. So I'm a coach, here's my certification, my values, my background, my history. And the fact is, clients, when they come to your website, they really want to know one answer. Can you help me with my problem, right? So I think what would be helpful for coaches' websites, if you are trying to think how to position yourself, is to play the guide role, right? So the header, the next section, the first two sections of your website should always be the guide, right? So you should be positioning yourself in the guide, helping your clients solve a problem. So I wanted to challenge everyone today, if you want, think about what is the problem you are helping your clients solve, and then position your marketing message in that way. So when people come to you, to your website or your emails or your social media, or even on your calls with people, if you start a conversation with the problem you're helping them solve, and then position yourself and your services as a solution to that problem so that you got into success, people tend to listen way more and get more engaged when we talk about the problem, their problem, because they all they want to know when they come to our websites is, can you help me with my problem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just inspired me.
Oh,
I'm going to throw this out to the group. Let's do a quick 10-second look at websites. If anyone wants to participate, I want you to go into chat right now, and I'm going to do a share screen, and we're going to share it up on screen. I'm not saying 10 seconds. Maybe we'll do a minute or two, but let's share your homepage of your website, and let's, as a group, offer some feedback. What do we like about it? What do we notice? What might be missing? And if anyone would like a quick, just impromptu feedback of their website, I want you to go into chat right now and just drop the homepage of your website inside here. So I'm gonna be brave. I'm gonna put myself out in here just to start us off, and I'm gonna share my screen. I have to click on share screen 2 on here. Are you guys seeing this? Welcome to Meller Marketing. Okay, so nice. I want to give you the opportunity to offer any feedback. Let's use chat to offer the feedback, if that'd be okay. So what do you like about it? Is there anything that you would offer as suggestions for improvement? So I'm above the fold. I'm not scrolling down on here at all. I'll just drop that into the chat. Any initial reactions on that? Okay. And I like to look at what's the positive feedback and what are the suggestions for improvement as well. And we'll do some other sites in here too. I was reading someone's post, and I feel like it was someone in this group. I can't remember who it was, but they posted yesterday about feedback, and they said, don't always just give negative feedback. Like, tell people some positive feedback too. Like, give us some, what do you like about it? And then give us some suggestions for improvement as well. All right, so there's some Meller marketing feedback. Let's move on to DianeDarling.com. I'm just going to copy your address here and put it inside the web. And as soon as this loads, I want you to offer feedback to Diane Darling. We'll use chat for that. And then the good thing here is, Diane, you can download the chat later, look at the feedback that folks are getting. Ooh, I love how the little pop-up came up into that as well. So there's Diane Darling. Again, I'm not going to scroll down below the fold, anything else in there. Just I want everyone to kind of look at what we're seeing in the website homepage as a starting point. All right, next up, we're going to go to Annette Richmond. And I know, Annette, did you relaunch your site? Am I remembering correctly? I think this is an entirely new platform. Is that right? Can you unmute yourself? I see her talking.
It's entirely new, and I still
Entirely
have the other stuff rocking out there.
Okay, very good. All right, so we're here on blackdogmarketingstrategies.com. I'm not going to scroll down. I want people to go in chat and just share initial reactions. What do you like about it? Anything that's catching your attention? Any suggestions for improvement inside there as well? And this is just quick kind of stuff too. We're not going to spend a ton of time on each of these because we're looking for fast reactions. And then maybe we'll go back and talk about these once I go through the group here. But thought this might be helpful just as a quick reaction, just to get some feedback. What do you like about it? What suggestions might you have for improvement? What are you noticing right away in here? All right, next one is for Selena, and this is called stonemediasource.com. All right, there we go. And pay attention here too to coloring, key messaging, visuals. Sometimes we see some pop-ups that are happening. Sometimes we see action buttons, things like that. So what are you noticing about Selena's website in here? Any initial reactions for her? What do you like about it? Suggestions for improvement, etc. in here. Okay. All right. Anyone else want to try this out? Make sure you need to drop your website link into chat and we'll give you a try. Okay, I see Jihan is up next, and we'll go on to goldensynergytouch.com. So I'm saying these website addresses out loud because this will eventually be converted into a podcast, and then folks will be listening in and they might want to listen and look up the websites as well. So goldensynergytouch.com, and it looks like, G, could you clarify, is this just like a landing page right now until your site launches?
Exactly. And that was what I put in the comment.
Yeah.
If people are in that transitional space, because sometimes you get that generic language just to have something immediate. If you're feeling uncomfortable, you want to remove it altogether. This was suggested just to have something really quick. Hey, something's coming shortly. And, for the most part, there wasn't much room, I guess, to put in like the LinkedIn information or whatever it was when this was done for me. But it's just that quick FYI, if you don't want those trees or that generic template that sometimes some of these domain providers share, it just put a page up really quick and just say, hey, something's coming, more to come. That way it doesn't look empty altogether. So
I think that's brilliant because so many people are like, I'm not going to launch it until my full website, my 20-page 5 hierarchy design, my contact us, my everything, my blog, blah, blah, blah. Just get something up there.
And thank you, Annette. I just saw Annette's compliment.
You're missing out on that stuff too, right? All right. I think I got everyone's in there that dropped their link inside of chat. Did I miss anyone? I don't know that I did. I think I got through everyone. So if I didn't put your website up on screen and you want to get some high-level feedback, quick feedback in here, drop your link inside chat. We'd be happy to help you. And I want to remind everyone on the call, gosh, if you're here, you're self-employed, right? And you really should be, you should have a website, and maybe you're in the phase of your business that you're working, but starting to launch up your side hustle. Let me stop the screen share here. And maybe not quite ready to put yourself out there to the world yet. And I get it. Maybe that's why you don't have the site up yet. But even in this case, let's say for Jihan's web, we were just looking at, she's got her landing page on there. what if it just said Gold Synergy Touch coming soon, cool stuff is brewing, and instead of a picture of her, it was just a coffee mug. Like, you could tease it. You ever go to like a mall and they've got a new store, it says coming soon, and you're like trying to peek in through the windows, but it's all blacked out, and it's creating that like excitement, that build up, right? Like, what's going in there? And everybody starts talking, what's going in next to the pretzel place? What is that new store over there? And then they start to put some branding elements. They're gradually rolling it out, and they're like, oh, that's the orange color. It looks like XYZ company. I think it's going to be this. And people start talking about it. And you're building up demand for that new store before the store opens, right? So you could do the same thing for your business. Maybe you give that website link to your safe, trusted network of friends. You don't put your name on it just yet, but let's get something in place to start directing people towards. And by the way, you can do the same thing for a LinkedIn company page. Julie, I'm not sure if you're still on and you're able to do so, but I've got a blog and a video about creating a free company page on LinkedIn. I'll see if she can drop that inside of chat. Highly recommend getting your company page set up as soon as you have your business name. Do a quick search on the internet as well as on LinkedIn. Make sure nobody else is using that same name. You don't even have to have your LLC in place yet to create that company page on LinkedIn. And by the way, you can, when you set up that company page, one of the fields will say website. If you don't have a website yet, the website you can use is your LinkedIn URL, like your personal LinkedIn URL. You can redirect people back to your profile. So there's ways that you can kind of cobble this together, even as you're in the beginning stages of your business. Kareem, did you have your hand raised again, or did you have that from earlier?
Oh, yes. Just wanted to say a very quick thing in 5 seconds. I love seeing websites. It just make me like just happy with excitement. So one thing I would add that I noticed in all the websites is that because people only have like 5 seconds before they tune out and leave the website. So I would suggest the header should, in the first 5 seconds, tell visitors, what do you do? How it helps them thrive, and then what do you need to do to get it from you? So a clear call to action button like book now or download now, something clear, not like learn more, not like contact us, something very clear. And then also the header, the button at the top, you don't want to distract them from what you want them to do. So I would say limit all the links and put them in the footer, and only keep the button you want them to actually click on, like that, like the book a call or download now. So anything that you don't want them to do at the beginning, put it in the footer. So the header is strong, clear, and also makes people focus on where you want them to go and click on.
Okay,
But
I'm gonna give a contrarian point of view on that with the header.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
we
absolutely. Love that.
we welcome
Yeah,
different points of
yeah,
views that are
sure.
in here as well. And,
Yeah.
and I want to hear from others as well. I hear what you're saying, and I agree when it's a landing page. If you're directing people towards a single action or activity, I agree, like, let's limit the header navigation. I completely agree with you. On a homepage, I'm still of the school of thought I'd like to give some high-level navigation at the top for two reasons. One is, I may not know where they want to go yet on my website, what they're looking for. And for me personally, I use it for both myself, but I also will tell people just go to my homepage and you can click on book. Like, just look for that at the top. And then the second reason is for people that are on the mobile device, that top tree collapses into a menu. So it's not really visible.
Yeah.
So to your point, it's keeping the focus on what I want to focus on. That's
Yeah.
just my own personal point of view. I'm curious if others feel the same as Kareem or if you feel different. We'll go Jim first and then Annette. Jim, what did you have to say?
Yeah, and I think for me, I think it depends. Is always the answer. For lots of people who are doing career or consulting or private practice, they have it's simpler. Like, I work with a lot of career coaches. That's all they're doing. They're doing individual career coaching. Yeah, keep it simple. But I'm doing individual career coaching. I'm selling a book. I sell a poster. I do trainings. I do online seminars. I do a career class that's 6 months long. I do interviews, right? I have a lot. And so I have to have that stuff up because if I'm directing an individual there, they got to be able to find it. If I'm directing a career coach there for professional development, they have to find it. So I think, you got to find something that's clean, obviously, that's not too complicated. But I think sometimes you just have to have a lot of buttons because you're have a lot of streams of income, right?
Good point. Thank you,
Right.
Jim. Okay, who is next? Annette, did you want to share? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I will have to say my husband is an SEO guy. He works with companies, medium, mostly, sometimes big, and that's his advice. And he's been in the business for a long time, so I have to bow to his information. I will say that I recently moved more links to the footer where I have a bunch of a lot of other information, which I've seen on Brenda's site and others that, to give people more of a directory on the footer, but to have things that I feel are essential for people to know at the top. So that's just my 2
You
cents.
agreeing with Kareem not having the header at the top? Is your husband saying yes to that as
No,
well?
my husband, my
Okay.
site has all this stuff on the top, the
Gotcha.
the menu on the top, and that's what he
Okay.
advises.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Like keep only the essential tabs and anything else not essential, bring it to the footer so people are not
Gotcha.
distracted where you want it to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I love having conversations like these
Yeah.
too, because it sometimes will give us different ideas. And
Yeah.
sometimes, like, honestly, Kareem, you'll hear things like you'll hear those pieces of advice and you'll be like, it's ridiculous. That doesn't work for me. But the more and more you think about it, you're like, well,
Yeah.
he really did raise a good point. We're trying to get people to do the one thing, the one action. And I've heard that feedback a lot, especially for landing pages. You don't need your header navigation, you don't need your footer navigation, because your
Yeah.
goal is to do the one thing that the landing page is designed to do.
Yeah.
So I love
I have 3
sharing
tabs.
these
I have 3
points of
tabs,
view.
so totally, yeah, I have 3 tabs on my website. So yeah, of course, it
Mhm.
depends on where you want it to go and what else you do. Yeah, so it's very helpful to hear the feedback.
All right, awesome. Okay, anyone else want to add anything about websites in there? If not, I want to change gears and see if there's any other topics that you might have questions about. Maybe something that you're working on right now within your business coming up in the new year. And I'm curious, where everybody is at right now we're kind of in the winding down of 2023. We're in the ramping up and planning and strategy of 2024. If you have any things that you're working on there, I have something I'll talk about after Selena is done, which is about my service offerings. And I just did a podcast about this as well. But let's go to Selena first. Hey, Selena.
Hey there. So I am in the process of rebranding a lot of things. I have 2 very distinct audiences. One is my high ticket, like corporate leadership clients. The other group that I'm trying to target also is just the women faith-based business owners. And in designing the website, I'm trying to figure out, like, how can I speak to both groups with, like, maybe it's asking questions and then directing them into which bucket they need to go to. But what I'm focusing on for 2024 is really niching down who my audience is, and also taking LinkedIn a little bit more seriously and branding myself as a keynote speaker. I did speaking many years ago, but because as a solopreneur, I'm constantly fulfilling client services, I stopped the prospecting and the marketing, and then I'm fulfilling, and then I'm launching again, prospecting, and it's like an endless cycle. And so what I'm trying to figure out is, what is the secret sauce that I think everybody in here is a solopreneur, unless you've got a staff. I'm trying to figure out is, how can I manage the prospecting while I'm fulfilling services to clients? And that's been like the biggest struggle and challenge I've had.
All right, so I apologize because I was reading comments just as I was like, oh, she just asked a question and I didn't hear the question. So could you repeat the question for me and for
I did
others?
the same thing.
Oh no. The question is, how do I guess there's a couple of questions in there. Was trying to define on my website as I'm rebranding. I have 2 very distinct audience types. One is the high end, the ticket clients, which is more like corporate executive leadership training. And the other ones are my female faith-based business owners. So on my website, I'm trying to figure out is, how do I define these types of individuals that I'm looking for without segmenting and breaking up my website into 2 different websites.
Okay, so do you mind if I pull up your webpage right now as we're talking about this?
Sure.
Okay. So we've got 2 separate segments. So the challenge and the question is, what do I do on my homepage to serve both audiences? So right now, is this designed for just one of those audiences?
So this design, when I initially started this, 6.5 years ago, was designed for the feel or the look of a full service agency, so that I didn't want to lose my corporate clients, but I also wanted to explore a little bit more with working with entrepreneurs and coaches.
Okay.
And the new rebrand is going to be more of a personal coaching consulting feel. So it doesn't look so, yeah. And the header is going to completely change too. But this was my first stab at this, and it hasn't been
I mean,
updated.
couldn't you use like a 2-column navigation at the top of your page that says, hey, are you a agency owner? Click here. Are you a solopreneur? Click here. Could you speak to both on there? I've seen some sites do that. Are you a student? Click here. Are you an educator? Click here. Are you a job seeker? Click here. Are you working? Click here. Like there's 2 different paths that you can use to speak to those audiences. Kareem, since it sounds like you've got some marketing background and some website design knowledge as well. Did you want to add anything to that? Any thoughts on that?
To cater to 2 audiences? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So this would be a great example to have, other tabs up there with their essential tabs to your audience. So they come to your landing page, they know what is the overarching, goal or problem you solve. And then you have 2 directories for them. If you are this, group, you go there. If you're that segment, you go there. So I would say have 2 different landing pages catered or tailored slightly in your messaging towards each audience, and have those on your homepage, the tabs for them to go directly there. And of course, your main button that you want them to click on should be a different color. Just be like, if you want them to book a call with you or to do a first step to become customers or become have a relationship with you, make sure that button is a little distinct on your website homepage as well.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah. Anyone else want to add anything to that? So Selena's kind of remarketing herself and starting to split into 2 audiences. Diane, I see your hand raised.
Yeah,
And then
I put a website in there called Intention. It's a friend of mine in Maine. She's a life coach. She does aromatherapy and she does weaving. So she has all 3. She's got 3 different boxes at the top that people can pick which one that they're interested in, because there's overlap, but not.
Interesting.
Great. Thank you, Diane. Annette, did you want to add something for Selena?
No, just to reinforce what Kareem was just saying. I'm on the board of an organization for resume writers, and their website services job seekers and also coaches and consultants and resume writers. And they have it laid out like that. They have for quite a while, and it works really well for them.
Awesome. Thank you. And I see, Diane, thank you for dropping that link inside chat for intention.com. I'm going to pull this up on screen so we can see. So here's an example. This is like it looks like a 3-column navigation. So click here for life coaching, click here for the essential oils. And I'm not sure what the Zentangle is, but if I'm interested in that, there's the 3rd category. Is that what you were referring to, Diane?
Yeah, she's an artist. She does weaving.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So she does really amazing hand weaving. Like she designs it and then she'll actually weave it. She's got 7 looms in her living room.
That's awesome. Yeah, great examples there. All right, great. So if there's is there any other commentary regarding Selena's question about splitting off? If not, I'll just kind of start to move us into close. And I just want to talk about kind of end of year and related to this podcast. I think, Julia, if I'm not mistaken, this was Wednesday's podcast. Can you remind me? And are you able to put the link into chat? But I was talking about right at this point where I'm at right now with my business, I'm starting to think about what do I do with some of my offerings as I start to shift into 2024. And this has been a gradual process for me and maybe for some of you as well. When you first start your business, when you're first starting off as self-employed, I don't know about you, but I would do anything. Like if somebody said, hey, can you do a website for me? Yes. If you're going to pay me money, I'll do a website for you. Am I a website designer? I can do a 5 website design using Wix, but I'm not like a fancy. And then I would have people say, can you do marketing strategy? Yes, I can do that. Can you do social media management? Yes, I can do that. Can you do LinkedIn? Yes, I can do. I would do anything, like anything, just to have the money coming in. And I started realizing to get a little bit more strategic about this. And what do I enjoy doing? Right. Because I would realize I could do a marketing plan and a marketing strategy, but it was a very time intensive effort to go through it. And that's part of the reason I left corporate, because I didn't want to do marketing plans and marketing strategy anymore. So why am I doing this? So I stopped doing it. And then I was doing social media management, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. I was managing these on behalf of companies. I had 4 or 5 clients on my roster. And do you guys remember Time to Make the Donuts. If you're in the Midwest, you'll know the commercial, Time to Make the Donuts. The guy that would get up in the middle of the night for Dunkin' Donuts, time to make the donuts. And it was like day after day after day. And he got to the point like, oh my God, like he's sleepwalking, time to make the donuts. And to me, it felt like social media management was like time to make the donuts. Like I could do it in my sleep without thinking about it. Yes, I was good at it. I could do what the clients needed. I was delivering them impressions and clicks, but I didn't enjoy it. So towards the end of 2019, my LinkedIn business was starting to ramp up. I had enrolled in a speaking program and I was starting to get more paid national conference, things like that. And I started deciding in 2020, it's the year of LinkedIn. I'm just going to focus on LinkedIn. I'm not doing social media management anymore. So I started turning away some of those clients. The ones I was working with, I started winding them down. I let them know we're going to do this for about 6 more months or so. Going into 2020, I had like the best income months ever, like January, February, March. And it's coming, right? Because it's on the horizon. Even in February, I was speaking at a national conference, and there were some people that didn't come to the conference because of this virus that was happening. And we're like, it's not going to touch us. That's over there in China, and it's not going to impact us. And then March hit, and you all know what happened. But I still decided just to keep focus on LinkedIn for that year. And some of the social media management clients that I had that were still on with me, they had to pull back because of the pandemic. They were losing staff, they were losing income. I'm like, well, of course you can't pay for me anymore. So it kind of like they took care of themselves. They discontinued on their own. And then when things started to ramp back up again, I just decided to keep my single focus on LinkedIn, expanded my menu of services there. One of the services I do, it's a LinkedIn executive package. I don't outsource, I do all of it myself. It's a complete top to bottom review, rewriting, optimization of their profile, very research driven, copywriting heavy, but I come from a corporate marketing background. I have a depth of knowledge of LinkedIn. They're good. When they get done, they're a good profile. It's expensive. A single profile optimization, I charge $1,800. If I do a profile optimization plus 6 months of coaching, 1-hour coaching sessions for 6 months, is $2,500. I was getting some clients. I wasn't promoting them a lot, but I'll admit to you, when I would get them, I was excited because of the income. And then I would be like, so much work. It's so much work. And when I would get done, I would always be really happy with the work that was being done, but it felt like a burden to get through the process of them. So I've decided this month, I'm not doing these anymore. My business is taking off in different directions. I'm doing more online coaching, some group coaching, online courses. I'm not going to do these anymore. So part of what I'm going to do is one final push to people who had a proposal to do the executive coaching program. So if they're interested, you have to sign on, but by December 29th. In the new year, I'm not offering these anymore. I'm also starting to shift my 1-hour coaching sessions. I'm now calling them power hours because that's really what they are. It's like drinking from a fire hose when you get an hour with me. And I'm, instead of doing segments of 1, 4, 15, and 20 hours, I'm going to be reconfiguring some of the offerings there. So part of what I'm doing, similar to when we were talking earlier to Annette about shifting her email list, is I'm shifting my services. So what I'm going to do is an email out to my full list saying, hey, it's kind of like the clearance sale at your store. They're like, we're not carrying the cinnamon roasted almonds anymore. We've got an inventory. If you want to buy it, it's the last time to buy them now. And then they'll sell out because people, it's that scarcity mentality. And then coming into the new year, there's going to be new things that are coming up as well. So I want to encourage you. There might be things that you don't enjoy doing for your business. I want to give you permission to sunset those services, those products. You don't have to do them anymore. You are the boss of you. You can do whatever you want. I want you to remind that. When you free yourself from doing the things that you don't really enjoy doing and you focus on the things that do give you joy, you actually create more abundance in your business and you create more energy for yourself. So I want you to remember that. I'm giving you permission. Just like I am so glad I made the decision at the beginning of 2020 to solely focus on LinkedIn, I am very confident with my decision to no longer do the executive profile packages. They're very intensive, but I'm shifting into other areas and other revenue streams. So I want to give you permission and then remind you as you're doing those shifts to communicate that with your email list. You can do the one final, hey, we're no longer selling these things. They're only going to be available until end of December. And then when you launch new products and services, remind your list about them as well. All right, guys. So that is it for today. I'll remind you that this will eventually be converted into the podcast once we get that podcast launched. anybody who introduced themselves or spoke today will be on the podcast. So delight in there. If you're not already following my podcast, it's called Enthusiastically Self-Employed. You can find it on any of your major podcast platforms. If you can't find it, just message me and I'll send you the link to listen to it on my website. With that said, have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you again so much for joining. We'll see you again on the second Friday next month. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and we will see you guys all in the new year. Take care, everyone. Thank you.